बाह्यस्पर्शेष्वसक्तात्मा विन्दति आत्मनि यत् सुखं स ब्रह्मयोगयुक्तात्मा सुखम् अक्षयमश्नुते. Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure or external objects, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. In this material world, those who are entrapped in this material body, for them, happiness is bodily pleasures, sensual pleasures, which ultimately culminates in sex pleasure. But those who are enlightened by complete knowledge, they know that I am not this body and they have nothing to do with the pains and pleasures of this material body. They derive pleasure by connecting themselves through love and devotion with the Supreme Lord, and they perform devotional service just to please the Supreme Lord. By pleasing the Supreme Lord, they derive unlimited pleasure. So, the spiritual pleasure which they get by serving the Supreme Lord is so relishable, so enjoyable, so unlimited that the material sensual pleasures which culminates in sex pleasure in this material world, it becomes very, very insignificant for a transcendentalist, for a devotee who is enjoying unlimited spiritual pleasure. So, this is the difference between a materialist and a spiritualist. A spiritualist doesn't like to enjoy any sort of sense pleasure. He avoids sex pleasure altogether because he is enjoying himself the true pleasure of the soul by serving the Supreme Lord. So that is why he doesn't like to take any pleasure in material body. Further, Krishna says, Ye hi samsparshaja bhoga dukkhayo naevate adyantavantah kaunteya nate shuramate buddha. An intelligent person does not take part in the source of misery which are due to contact with material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. So, material pleasures are temporary because the body itself is temporary, and a spiritualist, a person in complete knowledge, he doesn't take any pleasure in material bodily sense enjoyment because he knows that I am not the body, I am eternal spirit soul, my relationship is with the Supreme Lord Krishna. He derives unlimited pleasure by being in contact with the Supreme Lord, hearing his pastimes, hearing his bhajans, kirtans, singing the glories of the Lord, telling people about the Supreme Lord, describing his glories, going around and encouraging people to become devotees of Krishna, constructing temples of Krishna, worshipping the deity forms of Krishna. In that way, a spiritualist is busy in so many activities just for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, and by trying to give pleasure to the Supreme Lord, he derives unlimited spiritual pleasure, which is the pleasure of the soul. So when the soul is enjoying spiritually by serving Krishna, he is not at all interested by the bodily sensual pleasures. So bodily sensual pleasures have a beginning and an end, and the spiritualist has nothing to do. He doesn't enjoy the pleasures of the body at all. Therefore, a wise man, he doesn't take any pleasure in bodily sense pleasures.